Sandra Sheffer, president of Democratic Women's Club of Greater Broward. And here we are tonight again. I have Narnik Nikki Grant, former candidate for Broward County School Board Group 9, and getting ready for 22. And then we have Carol Lynn Wheeler. That's our criminal justice extraordinaire, PhD candidate at Nova University. And so we're going to talk some more election stuff. We're going to talk some election aftermath. We got a little bit of conversation. So that Nikki shirt today is a shout out for the folks in Georgia, y'all. We counting on y'all. We counting on y'all, Georgia.
Listen,
Ossoff and Reverend Warnock. We counting on y'all.
We still need you. We need the support for Ossoff and Dr. Warnock. We need you all to come out in full force. I know, Sandra, you have some dates. Can you throw some dates out there in terms of early voting, last day to register, all that good stuff?
So the last day to register to vote in the January 5th runoff in Georgia is December the 7th, which is Monday. So you have to register by Monday in order for you to run, in order for you to vote on January the 5th. Early voting starts, I believe, December the 14th is when early voting starts. And I think it goes until about December the 31st. You can early vote. They've already started accepting requests for mail-in ballots in Georgia. And as a matter of fact, I think the number is that they've mailed out over like 900,000 of them already that have been requested, have been mailed out already, over 900,000. And I think the number I saw was that they got a little bit over 1,000, is maybe up to 2,000 back and counted and confirmed already, but you could still request it up until January 1st. I would not recommend waiting that late because, it's holiday, all that kind of stuff. So if you want it, request it now. Request it just in case, you never know what's going to happen. Because believe it or not, here, like when we had the election on November 3rd, I know 2 people that ended up in a hospital on election day. But luckily for them, they had already voted and their votes had already counted. So you never know what's going to happen. So I personally know people that ended up in a hospital for you're like, wait, what? I'm in a hospital? What you mean? On election day, but luckily they had already voted and their vote counted. So if you want that, request that vote by mail, have it in your hand, and then make your decisions about how you want to do that. If you want to send it back or if you want to go in and early vote starting December the 14th in Georgia. We really want you to do that because we need these seats. And those seats are really important too, because one of the tough decisions that Biden have to make is whether or not he's gonna appoint sitting senators right now to take some of those cabinet positions. And I know one of the reasons why he's reluctant to do that is because it's going to create that imbalance it could create an imbalance in the Senate, particularly if the senator that he pulls has a Republican governor, because they're the ones that would fill that position. So it's some tough decisions that need to be made. And then we're going to talk about some decisions that have been made that we may or may not be happy with, right? All right, so I made my intro. Who got next? You got next, Nikki, or you got
next?
All right, Nikki got next.
So not going to do an intro, but I am going to talk about Jon Ossoff, and I am going to talk about Dr. Warnock. So Jon Ossoff seems to be the golden boy there in Georgia. Everybody's really excited about him. But one thing that I learned when I went on his website is that he initially was running for office back in 2017. And he was running for actually he was nominated by the Democratic Party to run for this office. And it was going to be an open seat that was being vacated by Congressman, let's see, what's the name of the person here? So it was a special election. And he was initially working with Congressman Hank Johnson, and he was on his national security aid team, where he handled defense, foreign affairs, intelligence, and economic policies. And he drafted legislation initiatives that passed in both houses, the Senate and the House. So he is seasoned. He's just because he's young doesn't mean he's new on the block. He's seasoned. He knows what he's done. He's been around this political scene for a while. And so he made history actually back in 2017 when he was running for that special election. Although he lost by 3% narrowly, he doubled the youth turnout from 2014 midterm elections, and he had the highest ever turnout for a standalone House special election all times. Oh, wow. Like He made records.
Momentum going. That
He,
moment.
we want to continue that momentum.
Get to the finish line.
Absolutely. He's charismatic. He cares. I've seen him in different advertisements or different things on TV where he's out there meeting with the people. He's talking to the people. He's going into areas that politicians don't necessarily go into. He's making himself available to people. And I look at candidates that way. And this is not something he's doing because of this election. This is something he's been doing prior to this election, right? So that's very important. His initiative and his platforms are healthcare, clean energy and infrastructure, rebuilding the economy, small businesses, and he wants to combat government corruption. So prior to him being working as the national security aide for the congressman, he was a investigative reporter who investigated government corruption. That's all he did. So I'm really comfortable and confident in his abilities to serve the people. So that's one of the reasons why I really want to push and make sure that people get that grasp of who Jon Ossoff is. Now, Dr. Warnock is just a whole different field, only because this is a man who's coming.
A different field, but a needed one, because, you know, we want to have balance and, you know, good diversity.
Absolutely. Very, a very hometown man, raised with about 7 or 8 siblings. His mom used to
11 or 12 of them.
Oh,
I think it's about like 11 or 12 of them.
11 or 12, right.
12. And, he's like number 11 or something.
Right. Both parents worked really hard to raise their children. They instilled so much level of gratitude and responsibility. Dr. Warnock, which is also, he's also a pastor or bishop, is he?
I think he's the pastor of Martin Luther King's old church.
Yes, absolutely. So you have an older man, a seasoned man, a man who knows about his.
He's that old, because I think he's around my age. Don't be calling the man old.
I don't think he's that old. And he's older. He's older.
So he's older than Ossoff, but he ain't like no old.
You throwing yourself in there. Nobody can tell that we think that you in your 30s. I don't know what's wrong with you, child, but okay.
No, we're gonna be serious today. We're gonna be serious.
All right. So he has his platform almost mirrors Ossoff, but the one thing that struck me was criminal justice and education. And when you click onto the criminal justice part in his website, he talks about mass incarceration. And we know that in the Black community, it runs rampant. And he is making a point and making it very clear that that's one of his top initiatives to really kind of hone in on this criminal justice reform. I know we hear that word thrown around all over the place, and that means different things to different people. But for Dr. Warnock, it means really looking at the system, not over criminalizing poor people, mentally challenged people, and a lot of the stuff that Black people or our Black community really needs. So I encourage everyone, if you haven't had an opportunity, please go to these candidates' websites, read on their initiatives, read on their platform, read on some of the things they've done in the past. I was looking at Dr. Warnock's endorsements.
I think he had did he have the debate already, or is it coming up?
No, it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming up. I think it's coming up December 6th.
Okay.
There is a debate with him. And is it Loeffler? Yeah. So December 6th on CNN, both agreed to do it. I encourage everyone to watch it. And it is coming up. Unfortunately, Purdue does not want to debate.
So he don't want that smoke. And then the fact that he's not willing to speak to this man and he's already been a representative, that should say he's already been the senator from that state. That should say a lot. That speaks volumes, right? Because you're not supposed to be scared of your record, right? And then you're not supposed to be scared because somebody's challenging you for your job. If you're scared to talk to them, that means you either got something to hide or you're not really, really ready for that position.
Exactly.
And I think Carol and Sandra, we all agreed that just because you have an office don't mean it's yours.
Correct.
Anybody,
I'm on the record saying people shouldn't run unopposed.
Right.
I don't think they should run
Yeah,
unopposed.
that's the thing. Yeah, you were mentioning that people shouldn't run unopposed. I totally agree. I think that it keeps the representative and or candidate on their toes, and knowing that this is not something that's guaranteed, and you serve
Given.
people. So you should make it your business to constantly making sure that you put the people first. So that's just a little bit of information on both candidates. And why is it important, Carol, that these two candidates get these seats in January?
Well, I'll tell you this, and I'm glad you asked me that question, because I think it's important, and I appreciate that you went over their records, because I think it's important that we understand that we're not simply asking people to vote for them because they're Democrats and because we want the Democrats. You know, if they win when they win those seats, then the president of the Senate, the vice president is the president of the Senate. And so when there is a 50-50 split in the Senate, when there's no majority, then the president of the Senate casts the deciding vote, and that will be Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
So it's not just that. We're not just asking for the sake that they're Democrats. These two gentlemen legitimately have the best record of the four candidates that are running for these seats. Right. These are the best choices. I have in the past in our Broward sheriff's race some years ago, voted for the Republican, which was Lamberti. I will vote across party lines if I feel like there's a better candidate over there. It just so happens that in this Georgia race, the two best candidates for those two Senate seats happen to be Democrats. So it's important that people understand that we're not just asking people to vote for those two candidates because they're Democrats. They just happen to be the best two possibilities for those seats. The other two are not options. I mean, Perdue is irrelevant. He's a Southerner who has gotten by because of the fact that Georgia has been traditionally a red state. This other woman whose name I can't pronounce, nor do I want to, is a conspiracy theorist, narcissist, bigot. I mean, she is the last person. She shouldn't even be the manager at my local Publix, let alone sitting on our United States Senate. So she is not qualified. You know, we at some point, and that's something else that needs to be addressed. At some point, we need to change the qualifications for people who run for office. We you know, they're talking about, and not that this is possible right now because of age. People are trying to get this guy to run for an office. This guy who shot people, you know, the guy from Illinois who crossed the state lines and went and killed those.
They want him to run for office.
Right. They want him to run for office. They want him to run for office. He shot people. You know what I mean?
And having a seat should not be a popularity contest. And we're seeing that.
Right. He had to be bailed out of jail. You know what I mean? He had a $2 million bail that was paid by a has-been child actor.
And Mr. Pillow, the Mr. Pillow guy or whatever.
They're talking about having him run for office. So, and the reality is, let's be honest, if it wasn't for his age, he would actually qualify, because we have not done anything. Our entire country was built on this assumption that people would do the right thing, people make the right decisions. There are no fail-safes in place to avoid people like this chick Laura, whatever her name is, who's a QAnon conspiracy theorist, thinking Wayfair is selling children. Those kind of people should not be running. Those people should not have any level of authority. And so we need to, at some point, and hopefully this administration doesn't get so bogged down cleaning up the mess over the last 4 years, that they can actually do something that puts these fail-safes into place, because we've got to do something. We should now know, based on what happened in the last 4 years, how many loopholes are in the system, how many mouse holes, are in the system that these little rats can squeeze through. The light has shined. And now everything is exposed. We see all the rotten pipes, all the rotten plumbing. We now know where it's at. And so we need to address these things. Absolutely. And so, yes, I definitely think that Reverend and Ossoff are the two best candidates, but not just because they're Democrat.
Right.
And let me piggyback.
We're in Florida talking about this. And so, because we want y'all to tell all y'all Georgia friends, because it's going to take all of us, Georgia friends, wherever they at, just call them and let them know, no matter what state you're living in right now, anybody that could vote, that's registered to vote in Georgia, call them and tell them that they need to go out and vote. And if they're not registered, let them know that they have until Monday, December the 7th, to go ahead and register so they can vote in that special election that's on January 5th, because it really is that important. And Karen made a point about, like, this last administration basically showed us all of the cracks that they have in the system, right? And that's part of it, right? But what I think it really showed us, right? And what it really showed us is that if you put a corrupt, shameless person in a system, that's what they're going to do, because a lot of it wasn't that the system wasn't really broken, right? Because we do have checks and balances, right? There's a lot of things wrong with the American, the system, but we do have checks and balances, right? But if you have a person that has like no character, no compassion, no self-respect, no dignity, no integrity, or anything like that, then you'll see the type of things that happen. Because basically what he did was that he basically crapped on all of the things. Not even, some of it was just a matter of decorum and just policy and just, you just be nice and do it. Most of the things that he had a complete disregards for was really a violation of the Constitution, right? Article 1, 2, 3, it separates those powers, and he just basically acted like nobody had any except for him, right? When he disrespected Congress, he wouldn't let people that were rightly subpoenaed come and testify. He told them, violate it, right? Just don't go. Who does that, right? So the system is not as broken as it appeared. It's because you allowed someone in who had no character, nothing, right? Who has no disregard or no respect for any authority, that got that position, and that's what he did on it. He literally went on there, crapped on it, peed on it, did all kind of nasty stuff on it, right? Because the system was there in place. He was just like, screw it, right? And on top of that,
we do have checks and balances. However, no one was doing the checking and the balancing. Right. Those corrupt senators, Mitch McConnell, what's the other one? The other one who's even older than Mitch McConnell.
He's not older.
They're both decrepit. These two decrepit Southern senators, they were supposed to be the checks and balances. So the problem wasn't just that we had this Russian asset. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just that we had a Russian asset as our presiding Oval occupant. We had these two.
It was more than just the two of them. It was more than just the two of them.
It was more than just the two of them.
And can I just state that based on what you're saying, Carol, and what you just said, Sandra, those two Republicans who are running in Georgia take the same note as what they got from their commander-in-chief, right? Because they have asked the Secretary of State to resign.
Yes.
Both of them wrote letters.
Because they mad that they have a runoff and the president is mad that he lost. Not because
but they're minimizing the Georgians' vote. You're basically telling the people you want to serve, the people you're running for to get their vote, that their vote don't matter. That you want them, that the process that is in place is so faulty that you don't think that you're going to get something fair. And you're basically telling the Georgians they're not voting right.
They're only claiming it. They don't think it's faulty. They're claiming it's faulty because they didn't win. And that's not how things work, right? It's not bad because you ain't win. That's not how it works. And that's what it is. So it's not even
why Georgians should look at this and say, hey, listen, we came out, we voted in record numbers, okay? We switched
in the middle of a pandemic,
right? All of this is from the people. So if you're sending a letter to the Secretary of State to resign because you don't have faith in the
Republican, no less.
But you don't have faith in the people.
Who publicly supported all three of them, no less.
It's mind-boggling to me, and it's mind-boggling that people would even consider them to vote for them. Because if you have two people who claim to be running for your vote and basically telling you that your vote don't matter and that the way the process is not good enough for you, then so you basically don't trust the people. Then you don't trust them to come in, vote, and make their vote count. You don't trust them.
We know that it's not all the people they don't trust. They just trust.
But it's a blanket statement. That was a blanket letter. It was a blanket statement. They weren't specifying. They just made it general, right? So if it's general, then you're talking about everybody.
Right.
Let's address the top officials in Georgia.
Wait, so I wanted to say a couple of things about those candidates. So you guys don't forget to share the share the feed. But I wanted to say something about them. One of the things that we because we always try to like not to dim anybody else's light in order to shine, right? Like I really believe that you don't need to dim anybody's light in order for you to shine, right? But we do need to put a spotlight on something that Purdue and Loeffler has done, right? So in the middle of this pandemic, while people are losing their lives over coronavirus and all these stuff, those folks actually, as a matter of fact, they really shouldn't even be able to run again because they should be indicted, right? They should be under indictment for insider trading because they both got information about some prescription drugs that either was or was not going to pass or whatever, and they had stock in it and they sold their stock right before. So while people were dying,
and Purdue got stock in technology that would be useful during people sitting at home working.
Mm-hmm. He sure did.
So all right. So they got their hand all up in the cookie jar, right? Doing things, having access to information and abusing the access to that particular information, right? While everybody out here, not everybody, most people out here suffering from coronavirus, knowing somebody got coronavirus, people who done lost their jobs not coming back. They've been trying to get at least the House has been trying to get them to vote on like, extend the unemployment, give these people another stimulus check, do something like that. They're like, nope, they ain't got no kind of time for that, right?
They took a whole break. They took a whole break.
Meantime, they're profiting from these types of the pandemic and the crisis. They're making money from it, so they don't care that the people are struggling, right? So that's both of them. And then Carol and Arnique had also talked about Loeffler. One of the things about her is like she's actually a documented racist, right? Every time we like to throw the word around and really don't have no facts or nothing to back
she's out in the open about it. She's good.
She's the owner of the WNBA team. I think I'm in Atlanta, right? And she's done and said and wrote some things, about people of color, the women that work for her, that most of them are just like, can y'all just kick her out of the league or something like that, sell the team. There was a time where there was talk where they wanted to sell the team and get rid of the team because they no longer wanted her to be an owner because she is extremely disrespectful and don't care nothing about Black people, right? And so when we talk about the votes that she don't want to count, she don't care about the white people, the Republicans that voted for her, or the Black Republicans who kind of just acting like what she doing is all right with them. You know what I mean? She don't care about that. It's just that she doesn't like the fact that people of color, she don't like people of color, period, right? And then she doesn't like the fact that they're gonna make her lose her job, right? Because since you have no value to her and she don't see you as anything, she doesn't understand how these folks that I don't see, that I don't give no value to, are gonna be the ones to take me out of my position, right? So it's extremely disrespectful what she's doing and will continue to do if the people in Georgia don't stand up and vote both. Make sure that neither one of them get to go back to Washington to represent them, because trust and believe they've already shown you that they're not there to represent all of the people of the state of Georgia. Okay.
Exactly. That's right. Absolutely. And yeah, go ahead, Carol.
You know what I was saying? So it was talking about the leaders of the Georgia, the state of Georgia, all being Republican, and all the infighting. Well, they're not fighting, but the infighting within the party. And people calling for their executions, and the wife of the Secretary of State got like violent sexual text, which means they were talking about raping her. That's the word rape wasn't used, but they were talking about sexually violent text messages. So sexually violent text messages, in my opinion, means that somebody threatened to to sexually assault her.
Right, and they threatened the life of I think the person who came out, the one that was that worked for the federal government, who said that there was no
right,
problem
the
with the
woman
election.
they
Threatened his life.
The guy went on the radio and said that he needs to be taken out at dawn and shot, and then said, oh, and then the next day said, oh, that was meant as a joke. It didn't sound
funny about that.
And number one, so let's talk about him for a second. He's an attorney. So you explain to me how there's not already something before the bar.
Right.
Because he no longer gets to be there. There should already be documents at the bar right now. He should be an attorney. Giuliani. Let's talk about Giuliani for a minute, even though we're switching subjects.
No, it's the same thing. It's all that crazy happening.
They're talking about having a preemptive pardon. So for those who don't understand how this works, and I know that you do, Sandra, they're talking about having a preemptive pardon for Giuliani. That's all well and good. He won't go to prison for any crimes that he's committed. But if he takes that preemptive pardon and which would mean that they have to document the things that he did illegally, explain to me, Sandra, as an attorney, explain to me how that situation alone doesn't get him in front of the bar.
He should be in front of the bar for filing those frivolous suits and all the those.
Correct. But if that didn't do it,
in all of those states. But what people don't understand is that he'll have a press conference and tell the lies and alleged fraud. But when he goes into the courtroom, he be telling the judge like, yeah, it ain't nothing there. There ain't nothing but smoke and mirrors, right? So he's not going into.
I don't have anything. We don't. The judge is like, okay, I got 150 pages of nonsense accusations. Where's the proof? Oh, we don't really have any.
Mm-hmm.
They were hoping, because all these judges were Trump appointees. You see, he got a crap load of judges seated, and so what they were hoping for, what they were counting on, because that's why he did it. He did it for that reason. He was trying to.
Oh, but see, okay. So let me explain what happened with what. Let me explain a little bit about that. So the judges that he appointed were federal judges, right?
Right.
Most of these cases haven't been able to get out of the states. So they haven't gone to the federal bench yet. So that's what they've been trying to do. They've been trying to find an issue to get it into the federal space, but they haven't been able to make them out of the state court.
So the thing for late.
I think that's correct. I hope what I'm saying is correct. But one of the things that people, I'm going to say everything. One of the things I'm going to say is that so I'm sure a significant number of those judges that they appointed were unqualified because the American Bar Association didn't support a whole bunch of them, right? Yeah. But the ones who were qualified, right, they'd be like, listen, I'm going to get this lifetime appointment and I'm not going to let this man go embarrass my name, right? Because some of them might have been really conservative, but at the end of the day, the law really is what it is. And, it's some of that stuff just folks not going to really be able to, you could do some mental gymnastics and all of that, but a lot of times you can't do that. I mean, Bill Barr has found a way to do some mental gymnastics, but even when he does that, he's still extremely careful with his words, right? He's extremely careful with his words. And one of the things that I tell my students, right, is that because something is factually accurate doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth. You understand what I'm saying? So what they do is that, you can state a whole bunch of facts, right? It's a whole bunch of facts. Ain't nothing you said it's all factual, but then that might be the truth, right? Because you're not getting the whole story, because we are allowed to, hold information back. So what they'll do is they'll go in, state some stuff that might be factually accurate, but
what you're not stating, can change the whole narrative.
Okay.
Now, the other thing about these lifetime, I know that Nikki was trying to say something, I'm just throw this out, then I'm gonna be quiet. These lifetime appointees, they're not protected because federal judges can be impeached.
They can be impeached.
If they start going around here
doing nonsense,
they can be impeached. And this next administration, this chick that's gonna be the vice president, she is a seasoned prosecutor, and she might not be the one doing it, but she will be handing out some directives. So if they walk around here with these crappy judgments, these lifetime appointments
contrary to law, to the law.
These lifetime appointments don't mean anything because they can be impeached.
And that's why the attorney general, whoever the attorney general is important, right? The attorney general important, the person that's in charge of the Department of Justice, because they're the ones that can make those decisions. They be like, these people out here doing what now? So it's important who gets those positions.
So And we're going to segue into discussing some of the appointments of the Biden and Harris administration. But before we do that, I just want to put out there for the layman people, those who are not in the legal field or not in that higher level, that
no, everybody on high levels here. Everybody here, everybody listening, absolutely on high levels.
Well, just for me, some things go over my head. So, I want to try to bring it down a little bit just for me. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna just, say that. But for someone outside looking in who has not been part of the political game and stuff like that, when you look at a sitting president who sent out a slew of attorneys to different states to fight an election, and every state that he's fighting has come out and said everything has been done to the T with the process. It boggles my mind, and I mean it with every sincerity in me, how anyone else could look at this and say, you are seriously misrepresenting the structure of the United States and how we do things. You are deliberately creating a fiasco everywhere you go. You're causing a lot of divisiveness between states and state officials. And anybody watching this and anybody really paying attention should really say, you know what? Someone like that, if you can act like that when there was a fair election, you want to come back in 4 years and run again?
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna say one thing about the elections, right? So he paid $3 million for them to recount
Biden some more votes,
right?
He
hold on.
He paid $3 million.
Hold on. Go ahead. He paid $3 million, and what now?
What happened, Carol?
He paid the fake president of the United States paid $3 million. Purchased Biden 87 additional votes.
He purchased nothing. He got the recount. The recount was there's like, oh yeah, we did make a mistake. Biden won by 87 more votes.
Right. And Trump paid $3 million for that recount.
Thank you.
He purchased 87 additional votes.
Heck, if he paid the whole 8.9 million or was 7.9 million, whatever it was, it might have been more votes for Biden. Go ahead, bro.
I know, right? I know.
I'm gonna need you to slow down when you say it. I need you to enunciate. So he paid $3 million to do what now?
So the president of the United States of America.
Right.
$3 million.
I'm sorry, $3 million. What now?
$3 million in cash.
Okay.
To purchase 87 additional votes for Joseph Biden.
So you saying that he paid $3 million for a recount?
To lose by more votes.
Opponent to only gain an extra 87 votes.
That is correct.
He paid to lose by more votes.
So while we're talking about recounts and certifications and all that stuff, can we really, for a moment, because I can't watch this video enough. I'm going to watch it again when we get off. Can we talk about Arizona? Can we talk about the governor of Arizona? Can we talk about Doug Ducey just being a thug and how he just sent the president to voicemail on camera?
Did you see it, Sandra? Oh,
Sandra.
That was amazing.
To give you the backstory, in July, Doug Ducey, the Republican governor of Arizona, made this big old thing all over the news media about how the president caused him so much. And they talk one-on-one all the time about the coronavirus aid and the pandemic aid or whatever for Arizona, and how the president caused him so much that he gave the president his own ringtone because he didn't want his phone to be in his pocket and the president called and he ignored it because he thinks it's somebody else. So when the president called, Hail to the Chief came on. That way he never missed the president call because the president was calling him all the time. This is in July. Mm-hmm. 3 days ago, while he sat at his desk on camera, certifying those votes for Biden, his phone starts ringing, Hail to the Chief. You know who it is. We all know who it is. He told us in July who it is.
Send that bad boy to voicemail.
He takes his phone out of his pocket, presses that button that silences it, sits it on his desk, and keeps signing.
The people spoke, The
people spoke.
The people spoke.
Our votes matter. Our votes matter.
playing. Would you
Yeah.
stop playing? Like, seriously, nobody got time for
Because
that.
at the end of the day, what the president's trying to do is go get the man in trouble, right? He's like, I'm not going to jail for you. Because remember,
Right.
he's like,
You know,
remember, we have a
so
president-
Trump is watching. I need you to visualize this. Trump is watching him certify these votes. And so Trump saw him take that phone out, silence it, and put it down. Trump watched this. He
And
must
I
have
don't blame him
done
because
himself.
as we know, the current occupant of the White House, number 45, all his friends seem to be getting indicted, arrested, going to jail. He got to get
Not a
in
big
front
deal.
and
He
he
can
don't never
find
get in trouble. So
Not a
that
big-
man was like, listen, bruh, I'm not finna go get myself in trouble, and you walk away like ain't nothing happened. Because the first thing he gonna do is, the minute people get in trouble, he be like, I don't know him. We're not friends. Who's this person? So that guy's like, listen, dude, you not about to like act like you don't know me no more after I done did something after I do something that you want. So the guy has learned his lessons. There's still some folks who have yet to learn the lesson that this man, that 45 is not to be trusted, and he would throw you under the bus as fast as he can, and he would leave you high and dry. So that man was like, listen, they did the recount, the numbers are what they are, I'm certifying this, ain't nobody about to do nothing that's about to get them in trouble, and you're gonna walk away and act like you don't know me, after you get what it is that you want. So I don't blame him. Might have sent him the voicemail too, because all he do is get people in trouble and act like he don't know why they in trouble, and he's like, I ain't tell him to do
He
nothing.
throw the rock and hide his hand.
I'm telling you,
Really.
So-
Throw the rock and hide his hand.
not to be trusted. He ain't loyal.
Bro, you can't say loyal and be in the same sentence.
He's not loyal.
No,
I mean,
no.
he already said that he's gonna well, I don't know if he said it. I'm just saying the word on the street is that he said he's going to start a media company to rival Fox News. How can you do that? Those people have had your back. Okay, before you were elected, throughout your election, and now because they out here telling the truth about what really happened, you mad, and then you're gonna try to bring them down.
Serves them right. It serves them.
Oh yeah, I don't feel sorry.
I'm not saying I don't feel sorry for them, but I mean, if you need any more proof that this dude is not to be trusted, then you should not bank, expose yourself or put your life integrity, respectability, credibility, any of that on the line for him. You should know that right now, because I can't take credit for this, but I can't remember who said it, but they said credibility is like insurance, right? You need it when you need it. So anybody got no time to be putting their credibility on the line for this guy anymore, right?
Absolutely not. So let's segue into Biden's picks and appointments and such.
It's a lot of stuff about who wants to do the setup for the picks, because there's all kind of talk about the picks, right? So I'm gonna just say a little bit about that. So so there's a couple people got some problems with the picks, right? Biden so eloquently gave us all, gave sisters, and I'm saying gave us all. He gave us a shout out for getting him across the finish line. Brothers did it too. I mean, the percentage was a little bit lower than us, but the brothers and the sisters came out and showed out for him. And he said, I know I could not have done it if it wasn't for you, right? And those are some facts right there. So one of the things he wanted to do was to, make sure his administration was representative of everyone in the United States, not just women of color, but just everyone in the United States. But now folks are like, bruh, I see y'all giving you out here handing out jobs and stuff, but those aren't the top of the line jobs, right? They're very good, decent jobs, but we always get the good job, so, folks trying to be the boss, man. They want to be the quarterback or something, right? So that's the talk. How y'all feeling about that one?
Here's my take. While I appreciate the Biden-Harris administration with their approach to diversity, I wholeheartedly appreciate it. However, like Claiborne mentioned in one of an article that you sent me, Sandra, we need Black people in key positions of power, not just communications or a deputy of this, a deputy of that. We need to be in the cabinet. We need to be in charge of departments. Yeah. I mean, not the deputy. We need to be in charge of departments. So I'm hoping that his AG position is a Black person. I'm hoping that, there was another person that he put and he took her out of retirement for something with the ambassador of the UN or something like that. Yeah. All nice and well and good, but that's not a key position, right? Simone got.
It's important. It's important, but yeah, we definitely want cabinet seats.
It is important, but we want cabinet seats. We want positions of power, right? Not director of hood. No, that you can get.
Please don't even say director of HUD. Come on.
What is important? They just shouldn't have had a neuro what it was, a neuroscience physicist or whatever he was.
Like, we can't do that. You know, you need to.
We lost a good one. We lost that. He was a Black doctor doing good stuff, and then
it was a mockery. That's what that was. And we need key positions where we are sitting at the table when the president is making decisions, and we are a voice at that table. Because at the end of the day,
because to be honest, I mean, let's understand that there is no disputing the historical happenings with Kamala Harris being the vice president.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so nothing I say after that even touches that, but that is not enough. So we can't, become complacent with the fact, okay, well, we got a Black, no, that we, yes, thank you. But ... there needs to be more, because she can only do what she can do.
Mm-hmm.
And she's one voice at the table.
So that's one. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you. I'm sorry.
No, she's one voice at the table. So I'm just saying. I'm saying the same thing as you all were saying.
No. I wasn't gonna disagree with you. I was gonna just add something to what you were saying, but I want you to finish first.
No, I'm done.
The thing about it is that the reason why it needs to be more is because we are qualified for those jobs, right? It's like there was for so long, it's like there are a lot of positions that people of color didn't get, and it wasn't that they weren't qualified for the job, they just didn't get them, right? They just didn't get them, and that's the problem. So we're not saying like, oh, the person should be like the press secretary because they're Black. No, it's because they're qualified. There have been people that's been qualified probably for the last 40 years that just didn't get that job, and they should, and this is our opportunity for us to have it, so we can really show what it is that we can do. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh no, because when people of color do get those positions, their credentials are like, you can't match them with anything else, right? You can't beat them. Like, they're speaking for themselves. Because one of the women that's going to be she's going to be in an economics thing with Yellen, right? That sister got like AB, MA, PhD from Harvard, right? She got her PhD in economics from Harvard, right? Really, you really don't question her PhD in economics from Harvard? No, so it's not that we're not qualified for those positions and beyond. And not only like Harvard is the only school where people can get very great educations or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, when people of color have been qualified for these positions and they've been overlooked time and time again. And you know how like people, they used to say in due time, we're at the
We're
time
now,
right? There's no in due time no more. Time is due. It's time.
And Black people, when we excel, right? It's not, we don't just excel and then, wow, we excel so much so that white people are intimidated, right? And threatened many times by us. They know that our potentials is vast. When we excel, we excel. When you're talking about the person that he has on his his COVID group pandemic, that's a top chick. And if you look at that sister's credentials, you're like, where has she been? She's been here.
She's been there.
Yeah. Trying to like, get seen, even though she's doing all this great work.
Right, and just trying to get a foot in. She is second chair, right? This is a woman that has a long list. I mean, you have to go through pages and pages and pages of this sister's credentials, okay? Then you have those in the communications, the ones that he put in the communications, all those wonderful Black
all those sisters.
All those sisters have communication, to me, in my opinion.
And they are overqualified for those positions, just for the record.
Exactly, they're overqualified, but I appreciate that they're there, and they appreciate
at the end of the day, they are the mouthpiece for the White House. And let's be real. We have spent the last 4 years in a freaking sewer. You know what I mean? Because the voice of the White House has been these two white women. Well, homeboy was there for 3 days, Scaramucci.
No, it was a whole bunch of crazy white chicks doing that job.
Sarah
Huckabee Sanders, And then,
I mean,
remember at one time they just stopped having press. They just stopped talking. They're like, screw you guys, we ain't got nothing to say. I'm like, what?
They couldn't tell the truth. They couldn't tell the truth.
Could
So
not.
and they kept getting caught up in it because these journalists were like calling them out. These journalists was like,
And he got mad, so he's like, screw it, I'm not talking to y'all no more.
right.
And
Bro,
these-
Does that?
how about on Thanksgiving Day? I am the president. You don't talk. Isn't that the
President like that?
The desk I'm sitting at right now is bigger than the desk he was sitting at. I'm the president. You don't talk to me like that.
and let
What?
me tell you
You a lame duck president.
right? Let me tell you something. The
Name
sisters
duck
that
causing all
have-
kinds of problems.
the sisters
That
that they
turkey,
have,
that turkey you pardon has more power than you.
you do.
Oh,
The sisters that they have,
creating some havoc, y'all. He creating some havoc.
the sisters that
Don't
they have
sleep
in
on
that
the nonsense he's
communication-
doing.
the
Go ahead.
sisters that they have in that communication group, I'm telling you, them sisters don't play.
So
Okay.
Simone
You-
Saunders,
you
Karine
come to a
Jean-Pierre,
room, and you're
Etienne.
not asking the right questions, right? You haven't seen shut down yet. You haven't seen people get shut
And
down.
it's gonna be
and
so ooh.
And then shut you down with such respect, right? Like you don't even know when you're getting shut down when these women are
You
talking.
don't even realize it.
I'm just saying, these sisters right here will
I'm ready. I'm not gonna miss a press conference during the Biden-Harris administration.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'll be watching
Not at all.
C-SPAN 2, C-SPAN 3. I want to
Okay.
see all of it.
I want it all. I'll be on
Watching
Fox.
on
all of
YouTube
it.
and recorded
Y'all
on this
have the
one.
hearing? Okay.
I don't watch Fox.
For the next
I don't watch Fox, but if one of these sisters are on Fox, guess who's gonna be
I'm
watching?
watching that clip.
Listen, okay.
Yeah.
I just would like Biden to listen and hear people as they are talking, because there's people are coming
There's a
out.
lot of people talking to him though.
A lot of, I know.
There's a lot of people talking to
I
him.
just hope that through all the minutia, he can clearly understand that Black people need positions of power in his cabinet. And it's vitally important that that happens, because I'm telling you right now, if that crazy man decides to run in 4 years, okay,
Listen, he's not running. Okay, well, I mean, he gonna try, but I
Put it
need
out
him to
there,
be.
sis.
I need him to be a
put it out
felon.
in the atmosphere. Put it out
Listen,
there.
I need him to be a
I'm
felon.
not expecting
Either in
him
the federal system or the state of New York or wherever. So he's not able to run in 4 years. Okay, let that all be taught.
That's best case
Let me tell you
scenario.
something. So Dan
Best case scenario.
Rather said it best. Dan Rather said, when you're trying to pardon, you're trying to get a pardon, that's like you admitting to committing a crime.
That
right?
is.
Okay, because you don't need no pardon if you ain't do nothing wrong, right? So if you're trying to pardon your children and your friends and yourself ahead of time, that's an admission of guilt. Okay.
So I sent you a clip about a girl. So the girl took the clip. This was on TikTok. So the girl said, "Who was the person that got a pardon from the 45?" And so now he has forfeited.
Michael Flynn.
Michael Flynn.
Is it Michael Flynn? Okay,
That's
so
the last one he gave.
okay, was it the? I don't know if it was the last one, but there was somebody that got pardoned by him. Now he has forfeited, because now if you accept the pardon, that means that you've accepted your responsibility in what you did, right? So now if he gets subpoenaed by the judge to come in, you don't have no space to lie. You can't. It is what it is.
Yeah, because that, I mean, Dan Rather said it. He said, you trying to get a pardon, that's an admission of guilt. Okay.
So now so the thing I'm saying, and I think to what you were saying, Sandra, you might be right, because if when after January 20th, all bets are off, right?
He's
So
not protected by the office of the presidency no more, homie.
I'm just saying, I heard a word on the street is there's an indictment that's coming up the pipeline,
Out of
right?
New York.
Letitia
James. Letitia James. All she got to do is submit. All she got to do is press enter.
SDNY, do it, please. All right. And trust me, I'm usually not that person, but I can't. One of the things that I'm hoping that happens in the next 4 years is that the poison Kool-Aid wears off, right? And that the fog wears off and people come back to their senses, right? Because, because he couldn't do all of this by himself, right? He really couldn't have done all of this by himself. And the fact that he got support and he got people on his team, I think that's even more disturbing to me than the fact that he did all of the things that he did, right? Because he had people voting against their interests. He had people supporting things that are against their interests, right? It only benefited him and it didn't benefit them. So hopefully in this next administration and this healing and all of this stuff, this build back better that Joe Biden is trying to do is that, the effects of the poison Kool-Aid wear off, the fog, that whatever this glow was that he had, people are just like, you know what, that was crazy. Because sometimes you're in a toxic situation and you don't know it. And part of it is because you just remember that one cool thing they did that you liked, right? You were like, but they did that. And you're just holding on to that one thing. Right. So hopefully, once they get out of the crazy, they'll realize like, yo, yeah, he did do this.
How it is when you get in a good relationship, you realize how toxic the last one was.
Go ahead, say that again. Go ahead.
When you get in a good relationship, you realize how toxic the last one was.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, usually always holding on to this one good memory. Okay, yeah. So hopefully once they have all these new memories in the next 4 years, they'll realize that that was more bad than good, right? So absolutely. Let's hope that's what happens.
And I hope that what's going on in Georgia now with the second in command from the Secretary of State. That they realize that it's gone far beyond party lines. It's just become this violent, visceral group of people who are willing to threaten, kill, defame, and it's all based off of one person just because they think that this is not going the way it's supposed to.
He don't think that. He don't believe that either. He's a master of chaos. He's a master of chaos, and he's the master of distraction. Because one of the things that he's doing, he got everybody distracted with this election foolishness. And meanwhile, he over there selling planes, destroying planes, messing with the Iranians, this other stuff that's gonna have us in all kind of
red paperwork,
all kind of heat. Because so this is all just a distraction. But we'll be done with all of that. And we talked about some of the Biden picks, but there's a couple things that's going on right now. People trying to be mad at Obama too, because one of the things he said was, that defended well, let me make another point and then I'll make that point. So one of the things that the Democratic Party has to deal with is that we have there's a lot of progressive Democrats now, right? There's a lot of people with progressive ideologies that are part of the Democratic Party, but Biden is more of like a middle of the road. I ain't gonna say he's a conservative, but he's more of middle of the road type of guy, but the voice of the conservative Democrat has to be heard because they're slowly coming in to the House of Representatives. We almost got a few elected as senators, but they're like a voice that you cannot ignore in the party anymore. So that's one of the things they have to contend with. So Obama said something about like that whole defend the police narrative ain't gonna get y'all far, people. And some of the progressives are mad at him. Cori Bush is mad at him. Sean King is mad at him that they said that, because they said there were people who were elected, particularly like state attorneys in many jurisdictions that was elected on that platform. I'm one of the people that really don't like the term either. I think it's more like reform. I'm more for the reform the police instead of defund the police. But Obama said it. People don't like it, and he's getting some smoke for that.
I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's his problem. I don't think it matters because it doesn't matter. He could have said the opposite. He was gonna get some smoke for it. So you might as well say how you feel. And the reality is, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it, it's ridiculous to say defund the police. I live in Tamarack. Okay, so I know y'all get your local, everybody get their own little local stuff from BSO. I get my local Tamarack stuff from BSO.
No, I'm a City of Miramar Police Department. We're not BSO.
Okay. So a few days ago, my email blowing up from my Nextdoor app and from other stuff in the neighborhood where this disabled white man, somebody's breaking into his house. And at night, somebody coming to your house at night, they're coming, they're gonna hurt you because they know you're home, right? So he shines a light. They're trying to get through the window. He shines a light. And once they know that he's home, this guy starts trying to break his door. He has a glass door. Homeboy has a gun, and he's calling the police saying, "Can you come? Somebody's breaking into my house. Somebody's breaking into my house. He has a gun. He's shaking. He's shaking, trembling. And the guy, I guess, can see that he has a gun. He's trying to break the glass. The homeboy standing there holding a gun on the other side of the glass, still trying to come through. 911, the BSO comes and waits around the corner. I can't make this up. Look, Google it. BSO around.
Why they waiting around the corner? Why they waiting around the corner?
To see if there was anybody else. That same mess that happened at Starkland.
That's the story that they're going with?
Yeah, something like that. Like we was making sure there was somebody else in the neighborhood. Meanwhile, this guy is in active, imminent danger. And they didn't even respond. They didn't show up at his house. They did not show up. BSO. And so this whole defund the police.
But people getting shot over traffic tickets and $20.
But that's the kind of thing when people start talking about defund the police, you want to start, that's what's going to happen. You're not going to have nobody show up when you need them. I mean, granted, we can't call them anyway, because if somebody trying to break into my house as a Black woman, it's a white guy, they're going to come and shoot me because they think I'm the one breaking in. No, it's my house. So granted, we've never been able to call, but this white disabled man found out what he found out what it was like to be Black, I guess. But we start talking about defund the police. It's a ridiculous argument. Reform the police. Yeah, we can't defund the police. I think it was in Connecticut or New Jersey where they reformed the entire police department, and it worked. Yeah. They didn't defund.
But they did fire everybody though.
Correct. Correct. If you gotta do it, you gotta do it.
In New Jersey, they fired. They're like, all y'all got to go, and you got to reapply for your job.
There you go. There you go. And
that department was like, crazy. They fired everybody.
It worked. It worked.
We're getting hung up on semantics, right? So I understand that people want to have this kind of discussion between defund and reform. I just think that to me, it's too much of a distraction to take away of what we really want. When Kamala Harris was on The View and she was talking to the McCain lady, and the McCain lady was basically putting her in the corner, trying to tell her, okay, do you believe in this defund of the police or whatever? One thing that I appreciated about that interview was she made it clear that I'm not talking to you about no defund the police. What we're talking about is she made it clear. She says there's some cities 1/3 of their budget goes to the police department. Mm-hmm. That is just way too much resources. Mm-hmm. We need to take these resources and reallocate them to mental health, education, and and the like. And she went down the line of what these things, where those money should be put into, right? Whether it's reallocating funds from the police, defunding the police, reforming the police, all of that is semantics. Bottom line is that cities across this country are putting 1/3, sometimes 1/4, sometimes 1/2, into their police departments. And these police officers are not equipped to deal with mental health issues, educational issues, and all those things. So while he's getting the flack because of that or whatever, I just think that we can't stay there. Like Black people, we don't have the luxury to be sitting there talking about semantics. We have to really focus on, we have to focus on, all right, he could say what he wants, but it all means the same thing. At the end of the day, the police departments get way too much money on issues that they cannot handle, right?
Yeah, I agree. They have way too much responsibility, and some of them, their priorities are all the way off. And I remember during the election cycle when I was talking to the candidates for sheriff and everything, and the PD candidates, how you arresting homeless people? That should not be a function of the police department to be arresting homeless people. Because one of the big things was, right, that when I was talking, especially to the state attorney candidates, I'm like, okay, you done arrested a homeless guy, right? Where you sending the court notice to? Where are you going to mail the court notice, right? And one of them started laughing. Was like, yeah, you know what? We mailed somebody's court notice to Publix once, right? Y'all know that man don't live at Publix, but y'all out here arresting homeless people. And then when they send the
notice, arrested him in front of Publix, so that was his last notice
for him to show the court to come to Publix, right? Like you done arrested him for being in front of Publix, and he shouldn't have been there. Now you trying to give Publix to make sure he get his notice to show up in court. And the reason why that's significant is because when you don't show up to court, right, they issue out a warrant. There's a capias. When I was a PD, that was years ago, the minimum on the capias was $2,500. I don't know if it's still the same. I don't know what it is, but you got a homeless dude that you just put in jail. He ain't got no $2,500 to bond out, okay? And on top of that, the type of resources that you're using to go put a homeless guy in jail, that's what y'all doing. Y'all got 2 cops cops, sending them to jail, riding them in the car, spending a night or 2 or 3 or 4 in the county jail. All of that money, man, come on. Y'all need to have some shelter, put that man in there. That would be cheaper than what it would take for them to arrest homeless people.
The whole system needs to be revamped.
So that whatever that budget is that y'all spending on arresting homeless people, put
that's
that
right.
in shelter.
The whole system needs to be revamped. So defunding the police, reforming the police, reallocating funds, all of it means the same thing. It's just semantics. And I don't think that we need to sit there and stew on semantics. What we need to focus on is make sure that these elected officials, the ones that affect our lives every day, make a consensus and have a sit down and have a discussion about how they're going to make sure they reallocate some funds and take some of the pressure off the police officers. This is not about police officers are horrible or they bad. This is too much for them.
Too much work.
They should not be handling mental health crisis.
Absolutely.
Police officers are not social workers.
Yep.
Absolutely, they're not. And to put that pressure on a police officer whose job is to not only serve, but now he has to be a marriage counselor. Now he has to be intermarried between two parents who are fighting over their kids. Now he has to, there's too much of that and he can't focus on his job, right? So the goal is
go get the cats out of the trees, right? When somebody's dog is lost, they gotta go find the dog. Like, I mean, come on.
They need to be
the good old days. They come to school with that little, the good days, they used to come to school with that big old briefcase, the DARE police, and tell us, show us what drugs are like and say, don't do that.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. And be part of the community. Go back to that, right? Because at the end of the day, no matter what anybody says, we do need law and order, and we do need the police there to be to be there to kind of do that function.
Agreed.
But now times have changed, and we need to recognize that. We need to recognize that mental health is a very big issue in this country now. We need to recognize that education is a very big issue, especially with the amounts of funds that constantly are getting cut. So it's important for us to kind of focus on these things, these semantics about the defunding the police and this, that, the other, whatever. It's a distraction. It takes away from the real issue. And the real issue basically is these elected
Black
officials.
people.
Absolutely. These elected officials.
Y'all
Yeah.
won't have no problems.
Absolutely.
You over nonsense. You won't have these kind of problems. If
I
y'all would know
totally
not to
agree.
kill somebody over a traffic stop or,
I totally agree.
or riding a bicycle the wrong way, whatever that means.
Absolutely. Reallocate the funds, put more funding into training the police officers, helping them know how to really effectively come and de-escalate situations rather than re-escalating them.
They can't be part of the problem and part of the solution.
Yeah.
Pick a side.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And in California, I just saw that they just have a whole 6-man group that will be responding to mental health 911 calls only, effectively removing the police officers.
They're going to need more than 6 people. They're going to need more than 6 people because the mental health in the United States is declining, especially within the Black community. I just read a research article that was done 2 years ago. So if these were the numbers 2 years ago, in 2018, then we have to assume that it has become progressively worse since then. There was a research study, I don't know the name of it, it's on my computer, where they interviewed 40,000 Blacks in a city where a police officer had killed an unarmed Black man. And what they found is that we as Black folks are mentally impacted, negatively mentally impacted by the police violence on somebody else. And so what has happened over the last few years, especially with social media, viral videos, we're exposed to it more and more. The George Floyd thing, I mean, come on, we literally watched a man die.
Yeah.
We watched it in real time,
It's real.
So mental health is declining, especially in the Black community, because of with everything else. We were already dealing with mental illness because of poverty, lack of jobs, poor health care, poor access to education, all these other narratives that were already
all these stresses.
And now to add to that, when we're being exposed to these murders of unarmed, I got feathers flying around. We're being exposed to murders of unarmed Black people, and it is impacting our mental health. So they're gonna need more than 6 people in California.
And the reason why, and I'm sorry I'm cutting you off, but I'm doing it anyway. And the thing is, it's like they're getting killed doing normal stuff, like you driving. Like it's like
barbecuing while Black, running, jogging while Black, minding your business.
We got to drive when we're trying to go somewhere. So now you in your car driving somewhere and you just like, please get me there safe. Lord, please get me home. That's crazy, right? Like I got a move over ticket and I'm telling you, like that whole thing was, I was like, and I actually told the guy, I was like, yo, I'm just trying to survive this stop. And he was like he trying to clutch his pearls. I'm like, yo, dude, I'm dead ass serious. I'm just trying to survive this stop.
What I need to do is
keep it moving.
Give me my ticket, give me 10 of them, but I need to go home.
You know, and I had another situation that we could talk about another day where I'm telling you, I felt my blackness with the interaction with the law enforcement officer. And I'm like, I should never have to feel bad about who I am. You understand what I'm saying? So this whole stuff, you know, like it's real. And, you know, people out here worried about the police, but they don't understand that things that we're supposed to be able to do normally, we're afraid to do them, right? And you're doing them in fear. And that creates all kind of anxiety that overlaps and falls over the other parts of your life. Because especially if you have a traumatic interaction with a police officer, you know, it just doesn't end when that interaction with that officer ends. Those things linger and they go on and they affect your relationships with your children, your family, how you work and everything. And that's not being considered, right? So when these folks out here talking about, oh, they worried and they scared for police officers about when this reform comes, no, because the police officers who created this atmosphere and this reputation to those departments, they deserve no sympathy. They deserve absolutely no sympathy.
And the good officers welcome it. The good officers welcome it because the good officers want reform because they are tired of being grouped in.
And not being able to tell, because if they do go and tell, then now all of a sudden they're threatened, right?
Come on. So listen, while we're on that subject of you being pulled over and feeling your blackness, one of my first cousins, she lives in St. Louis. Her name is Dana Kelly. She's running for mayor in this next, for next year, whatever. She's running for mayor of St. Louis. And she's done, I mean, when she wins this office, this will be the least of her accomplishments. Okay, so I'm just gonna be very honest. When she wins this office of mayor of St. Louis, it would be the smallest thing that she's accomplished in her lifetime. But we have to get her on as a guest, and maybe more sooner than later, but certainly when she's running. I mean, when next year when the cycle, but she had, remember the officers that sniper killing officers in Dallas a couple of years ago? Yeah. The next morning, and I'm not going to tell her story. I'm going to let her tell it. But the next morning she got pulled over, and I need her to come on here and tell you guys and tell our audience what happened when she got pulled over, and how it impacted her, how she responded, and how the police officer responded to that incident.
And then I'll share my story then too, right? Because I'm telling you, it was one of those experiences where I'm telling you. I
mean, Black people literally have PSD. PTSD.
No, it's serious. It's serious.
When I see a cop behind me, I tense up. My neck gets stiff. My hands are grabbing the steering wheel. It never ends well for us, right? And the little bit of information we used to get before it was so widely shown, now you hear stories and you're like, oh my God, you can't believe it, but you know that this is a possibility. So just driving around, and every time you see an officer, you're supposed to look at an officer when you see him and say, oh my goodness, you know what? I feel safe because he's riding around and he keeping us safe, or whatever the case.
We're supposed to, yes.
Black people don't feel like that.
Right. No shade, Narnique. You still out there driving fancy cars, right? So I used to drive fancy cars
all the time because I'm driving.
Yeah, because you got no business. What are you doing? It must be stolen.
I'm making the point. I used to drive fancy cars too. I drive a Camry now, right? And I'm gonna tell you, all the cars I've literally gotten pulled over time and time again in every single one of those cars that I drove in. If you see, my traffic history is horrible. No lie. And I used to have dreads too. That's about that, girl. So I'm telling you, I drive a Camry right now. I had a minivan before that, and I did it when I had my kids, because I'm like, I can't be getting pulled over with children in my car, right? And then in one of the cases that hurt me the most was that Philando Castile case, the one where he had his daughter in the car. And I'm telling you, like, I'm telling you, I know it, I understand it, and I'm a female, and I'm telling you about the amount of times that I've gotten pulled over and the consequences of me getting pulled over. So, you know, people that are killing people over traffic stops.
It's a traumatic experience. It's a traumatic experience, more so when the kids are in the car, because I got pulled over.
When I heard that, like, I felt every bit of it. Can you imagine this man is dying in front of his kid like that? Listen,
let me tell you two things. So during the so my husband and I both, you know, everybody was saying it's going to be civil unrest. So me and my husband both, during the pandemic, got licensed to carry. So he got licensed first, and I did my class and everything after that. But we're now both licensed to carry. Y'all need to know that before y'all try to come in this house. So that be known. So anyway, with that being said, when I went to my class, because he did his virtually, but when I went, I was able to go to my class, and it was only a few people in the class. We had to social distance, we had to keep my mask, whatever. I'm the only Black person in that class, and the class was at the fishing place over here off of the highway.
I know what you're talking about.
Over the 95, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
So, you know, that whole place is really redneck, and I'm the only person of color in that class. The gentleman who's teaching it is one of those camouflage, you know, wearing guys, big guy. You can tell he goes deer hunting every weekend, you know, and with his shotgun. And he said something in this class, and I was like, and I grumbled, and he was like, you know, why'd you grumble? So he said, the great thing about getting this license is when you get pulled over, take your driver's license out and your concealed license out and place it on the steering wheel, because when the police officer sees that you have your conceal and carry, they're going to treat the stop differently. And I was thinking, no. For me, the last thing I need is that police officer to know that I have a gun in the car. Homeboy, that police officer said to Philando, do you have a gun? He says, yes, I have a license to carry. And he said, let me see your weapon. And then kills him.
Killed him.
He said, let me see your weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Castile said,
you have a girl in the car.
She said, let me see what he was getting ready to show him the weapon. The police officer shoots him. And then no consequence.
And he don't go to jail for this. Like, no. And then so people don't tell me nothing about how sorry you feel for the police, because you haven't had to deal with any of these experiences. Exactly. You don't know what this is like. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to tell you guys is what you were talking about that feeling about getting tensed up. Manny and I had been knowing each other, dating for 2 weeks. Okay. And so we were at this place in Pembroke Pines that closed, or they stopped doing karaoke at. We were there on a Monday night for karaoke. I'm telling you, we had known each other 10 days, okay? And he doesn't know anything about my anxiety, nothing. He don't know nothing about me. He doesn't know that I'm a radical. He just thinks that I'm some woman that he's getting to know, right? So we are leaving this place as they close, and all these police officers from Pembroke Pines pull up. And the purpose of them being there, I guess, was anybody was drinking, because it was like a bar kind of thing. And they were basically looking for people who were going to be stumbling out of the bar and driving away. So I'm anxious, and I'm not in any hurry to get in my car. Now, people are leaving, and Manny and I was like, I'm not getting in my car, but the police are here. Now, what ultimately happened was they got a call and had to leave with the lights blaring. But I stood there in that parking lot for 45 minutes while those police were there. And Manny was like, what's the matter? You haven't been drinking. So he could not understand. And I didn't know him long enough to tell him anything about what I was going through. But I was not about to get in my car. I was not about to let those police see me get my black butt in my car and see this black man get in his car. And he, at the time, he was driving a Monte Carlo, one of them, okay. Mm-hmm. And
I was not about to let those police officers see me get in my car and him get in his car. Yet, no, we weren't drunk. Yes, our licenses were good, but
Mhm.
that does not
Doesn't matter.
equate to a safe stop for us
Mhm.
necessarily.
Mhm.
And my husband, who's from Chicago, who you would think has had enough experiences with Chicago police to have understood, but he was like, what are you afraid of? You haven't been drinking.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I can be mind of my own business, and these police officers, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
So I refused to get in my car. They were not going to pull me over for no nonsense, because I see them, and it's like I feel everything. I feel all my organs. I'm aware. I can feel.
I got stopped with the kids in the car, and it was a traumatic experience for them, only because I started to yell at them, and it's just what came over me the minute I got pulled over, and I said, I know that your seatbelts are on or whatever, but don't make no sudden moves. Sit your asses there and don't say nothing. And they were like, Mom, what you? I said, just shut it. And I was cussing at them. And it's not until the police officer came up, and it was a white police officer, motorcycle ones. I think those are the worst, in my opinion. They come up, and he was very condescending and disrespectful, right? And so my response to him was like, Officer, I just want to make it home alive with my kids. Is that going to be a possibility today? And he looked at me, and he said, and his demeanor completely changed. And he says, well, I stopped you because you were all of a sudden he was soft spoken. He was like, whatever and stuff like that. And then I yelled at them to make sure that their phones were videotaping. And once we went through, and he was like, well, I'm just going to give you a warning or whatever the case is. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you're not doing me no favors, but I'm just not going to say anything, because I just want to make it home with my kids, right? I don't want my kids to be traumatic or whatever. And then when we pull off, they both were looking at me, and they were like, why were you yelling at us like that? Why, whatever? And I explained to them, made them refresh. Philando Castile, I made them refresh about all the other ones that were thinking or whatever. They were like, well, Mom, that's not going to happen to us. I said,
You don't know that.
I said, listen, I don't want you to be naive.
Yeah.
And I said, I was wrong for yelling at y'all and cursing at y'all. I said, but this is what it is, what brings, what kind of fear that you get from police officers. I said, because it's not always okay for us.
And it's not right. And I have a daughter on the spectrum, who just doesn't she already has sensory issues. So you imagine flashing lights and all of this stuff happening behind. And I got pulled over one time. I mean, that time it was my fault, because I got it through my office, and I didn't realize that my tags had expired. So that was all on me. Like, I was like, no, it's supposed to be September. And he's like, yo, lady, these expired back in June. I was like, because hey, listen, that was all over.
You thought it expired on your birthday.
Yes, I was thinking it was my birthday, September, but when you have it through your office, it's June, because of, okay. So that was on me. I understood, but I was like, sir, my daughter's on the spectrum, because she was already, and he was like, oh, okay. And you know what he did? He sent the whole nother cop. That man was like, I don't want none of this. So he sent another cop to come talk to me, because he was like, she what? Because she was already in the back, and he was like, oh, okay. And next thing I know, it's another. I was like, she was like, listen, girl, bye. Get registration, okay? You know what I'm saying? But at least he realized that. At least he was like, I don't want none of this, you know what I'm saying? And then he walked away from it, and he said to another female cop. And sometimes you get them that understand it, but we're dealing with a lot. Like, I'm getting stopped. It's already all this anxiety about your color. Then you got your kid that special needs in the car, and it's a lot happening. And if you have an officer that's not trained, that doesn't understand how to deal with children on the spectrum and all of this kind of stuff, those situations can go left so easily, man. And I'm telling you, that's why, and I'm not saying all of those cases were extremely tragic and everything, but I'm telling you, that one with Philando, because that right there was.
I understand.
I think
daughter.
I think we're all traumatized to the point that it replays in your mind. Like, that's etched in my mind. I could never ever get that out of my mind. And the fact that the man said, even when he was dying, he's like, I was showing it to you. It was just,
and you trying to do the right thing, and you still
asked me for this. You asked me for this.
you know. But you know, girl, ladies, we always talk too much, you know what I mean? I hope folks enjoy the show. Reminder is, folks in Georgia, registration for the runoff last day is December the 7th, which is on Monday. Please go register to vote. You can still request your mail-in ballot. Do that too. Get ready, vote on January the 5th, 2020. Go ahead and send those 2 senators to to Washington, D.C., because they are the better choice. You know, they are the better choice. The other folks, while we're dealing with COVID and unemployment, they over here selling stocks, you know, invested in technology companies, and not trying to have no debates because they scared of like what their record is. So yeah. John,
so if you go to John Ossoff's website, which is Elect John, ELECTJON.com, he has all the information of his opponent and Dr. Warnock's opponent of how they did sell stock and when they did it, the time frame. It's documented. He has that all on his website. But also just peruse his website, get to know him, donate to his campaign. I think they have that. I'm not sure when's the last day for them to get monies. I think it might be sometime this week. You know, donate to them, get them to on the pathway to the Senate, and really tell all your friends who are in Georgia that you're behind them. You 100%. Let them know that people in Florida here are rooting for Warnock and Ossoff, and we are committed. I know that we had I know that I've heard there's a gang of people who came and went down to Georgia to support, to help with those campaigns. We wish them nothing but the best. We're looking forward to making sure that those 2 seats are secured, not because they're Democrats, but because they are the better
most
candidates.
qualified and the best candidates.
Absolutely. Any final words?
I'm good.
Keep Georgia blue.
Georgia blue.
We all got Georgia on our mind right now.
All day, every day. So we're going to stick to that. And next week, we have a very awesome show. And we'll let you guys know coming up how that's going to be looking.
Yeah.
And you
what are we calling it? Build Back Better.
The Black Edition.
The Black Edition.
I love it.
The Black Edition. That's what we're talking about.
Better the Black Edition.
It's a Black Edition. And we actually, our special guest next week is Damon Drummer. And he actually sent the Biden-Harris administration a plan on what they need to do with or without the guys in Georgia. But we want them to do it with the guys in Georgia. But he's like, yo, this is the plan. This is how y'all gonna do it. And so everyone really needs to tune in. It's gonna be like an amazing show. Thank you so much for indulging us. You know, we appreciate it. We're supporting, you know, keep Georgia blue, send them guys up there. And we're gonna talk about building back better.
Build Back Better, the Black Edition.
The Black Edition.
Blackity black, black.
It's gonna be unapologetic.
We're all wearing black. We're all wearing black next Wednesday.
It's gonna be unapologetically black.
It's gonna be unapologetically black. That's right. It's gonna be blackity black. Just like Carol said last week, that she is extremely sensitive, racially sensitive. Child, is right up your alley, girlfriend. We're gonna be blackity black, so we can't be blackity black anymore. And
it's going to be a Democratic agenda. It's going to be a progressive agenda. We're going to hear what he got to say. He's going to do most of the talking because he has a lot of ideas and a lot of, you know, things that can be done, because there's a pathway to make this better. And, you know, some folks do have to step aside and give up their positions, but it's all right. They can find something else to do. We're all resourceful. You got some skills, go ahead and use them in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's right. Spread yourself. Spread your wings.
Yeah. Go try something new.
You got to stay. You got to go other places and spread your wings.
And so, so Biden is still out here picking seats. I need the Secretary of Education to be a person of color.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Hey,
y'all can holler at me. I got some ideas, but I need the Secretary of Education to be a person of color because we need to deal with this curriculum, right? Curriculum for real.
We got to revamp the curriculum.
Yeah, so we need that person to be a person of color. Secretary of the Interior, you know, I think Susan Rice, you know, she could do all that. That's my shout out. AG Tony West, you know, we need a brother up in there. I think that position definitely.
I don't want to hear nothing about his relationship to the vice president.
Not me neither.
because they've already, because this
It don't matter. Yo, the last dude had all his relatives up in there,
Correct.
even though they could not get through security clearance, right? They could not. So check that out. That part. So he
this guy's actually qualified.
I didn't even
could not pass. Couldn't pass the security clearance. So he said, F it, just don't do it no more. Who does?
Well, Biden need to go ahead and give his son a job. And I say I support that.
Hunter needs to be like in Health and Human Services,
something,
some mental health,
a good way to keep an eye on him and make sure that he's doing what he's supposed to be doing, right up under him. He'd be right up under his daddy, right up there.
Even if he's not the secretary, he needs to be in that department. I think he done been to a couple of rehabilitation centers. He could tell him how to do that and do that right.
He's qualified.
One of the things we need to stop doing is criminalizing addiction. Right, we need to stop criminalizing addiction, and he may be able to lend, some firsthand experience to the people in that department. So I'm here for Hunter Biden getting a job, in Health and Human Services.
I'm here for Kamala's nieces and nephews,
the little babies,
and his sister-in-laws and grandbabies. Everybody need to get a job up in there. I'm all about the nepotism, honey, because nepotism was running rampant.
They're qualified. They got degrees, and they've actually had real jobs outside of their daddy's establishments, right? His fraudulent, they work for real people, real companies, and not like their daddy's fraudulent charities.
Not Trump University.
So we just gonna end on being the savage tonight, Sandra.
Damn, we went low, and that's another thing. But I gotta we went low story. Okay, so there's one of the people. Dang, I thought I wrote her name down. So one of the women who they're trying to put on the treasury is an Indian sister. She might be Indian, but she's one of our brown sisters. She getting a little bit of heat because she said some stuff about Michelle.
You're talking about Tandon.
Yes, yeah, I wrote her name down, but I can't. She said something about Michelle. She was mad at Michelle, talking about like when they go low, we go high. She was like, hell to the nah. So
talking about
come back and hold her. So we can talk about that.
What she say?
She was like, no.
She's like, we gonna go low.
I think she's
not doing that.
I don't know if that's what she said.
But Nikki, what you need to know about Tandon is that these bigots that sit on the Senate, saying that they don't think she's gonna get through confirmation because she's prolific on Twitter. Girl, they're trying to hold what she wrote on Twitter against her.
Wait, hold on. Wait.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna let you get. You heard me.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So you mean to tell me that the Orange Monster be on Twitter like nobody's business?
That's how he fire people. That's how he fire people.
And he go after people and call people names and call people dirty with roaches.
No IQ. Just you name it.
Name calling.
And they talking about her Twitter account?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I can't make this up. The good thing about 2020 and the good thing about the last 4 years is you don't have to make nothing up.
So I'll be like I told y'all thought I was lying. I'll be watching C-SPAN 1, 2, and 3 for all of these hearings because they gonna be all that.
I'm confused.
They're gonna bring all that spice.
The one I like to listen to is the one they don't have it's just sound and it's the policy one.
Listen,
it's boring, but I learned a lot on that one. But
all of these hearings gonna be spicy, and I'm here for all of it.
Okay. That's what we doing, I guess. I mean, that's why we need the Senate to be 50%, because that kind of nonsense, that's not gonna work. That's just not gonna work. You talk about the king of Twitter and petty that be on Twitter 24/7.
The same people that said these are people who was like, oh, I haven't read his tweets today. They was acting like they ain't read it, and
y'all read that too. Okay, y'all.
But apparently they were reading hers.
They reading hers.
Oh, so they could read hers, but they didn't read his. Oh, okay.
I said what I said.
Okay. Well, I mean, listen, if you can go on Twitter and said you won the election when you clearly lost, and you doubled down on that tweet, you didn't just let that go. You doubled down on a tweet, but that's okay. Okay, all right.
When you get 3 numbers on the lottery and you run up to Tallahassee and grab the check out the person who got the 6 numbers. Give me my check. Give me my check.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't.
Listen.
I just
all right, ladies.
All right, guys. So
All right.
listen, we have one
Next
more
week,
battle
it's gonna
down.
be what the Bill? What I keep wanting to say Bill Black better.
Build Back Better,
Back.
the Black edition.
The Black
Too
edition.
many BBs, honey.
what
Build
we
back
doing.
the Black edition, honey.
That's what we're doing on
Black
Racing the Races
Impact.
next week. Sandra
Yeah.
Sheffer, President of Democratic Women's Club, signing off. What's your final thoughts, lady? What's your final thoughts?
Final thoughts is, listen, Georgia, we watching you and we are there in spirit. Okay, we're there in spirit, and I'm telling you, we can make this. If Georgia can make Georgia blue after all these years, we definitely can get those two guys on those Senate seats. So come on, Georgia.
Keep up that good work.
Come on, Georgia. We here with you in spirit. Listen, Florida has made the 1 million COVID case. We're number 3 with the third state with COVID cases. And if you look at and see which states that are high in COVID, they're all Republican ran states. All their governors are Republicans. There's an issue here. Every day, the whole party has shifted. Republican Party, that is. The whole party has shifted. Now they just basically, we just gonna follow along. No one has an original thought. No one wants to go against the grain. So we need to get these seats.
Well, some of them are, because the Republican governor of Utah, after he won, he put a mask mandate on the whole state.
Well, he's trying to keep his numbers down.
Do this. I got my job. Y'all better put your mask on out here with all this rolling.
Oh, and shout out to Gretchen, the governor of Michigan. Okay, Gretchen said, okay, you know what? The House and the Senate, y'all don't took a break because of Thanksgiving or whatever, but guess what? I'm gonna do your job. I'm shutting it down. Okay, y'all need to be wearing some masks. I ain't got time for nobody.
That shut down too. Somebody else just shut down for like 3 weeks. They're like, yeah, we're not playing with y'all.
California, but we can't talk about California because he is straight up hypocrite. That hypocrite in California who isn't like, it doesn't matter that he's not a Republican. That hypocrite.
But y'all know everybody at that party had a COVID test.
That's what Cardi B said about her
in California, they got access. That's
what Cardi B said about her Thanksgiving party. They still got mad at her.
They had access. Everybody had a COVID test. He's like, I know why I was there. Shoot, everybody had to show that Rona test at the door.
I have some final thoughts.
But he was dead wrong. He was dead ass wrong for that. He was dead wrong. I
have some final thoughts, and my final thoughts are based on COVID. And I am dead ass when I say this. We need to start growing our own food. And the reason is that these refrigerated trucks they're using to house bodies these refrigerated trucks that they're using as morgues, when this is over, they're gonna be trying to use them same refrigerated trucks to carry food. Okay. So that's just something I need y'all to understand. They are using refrigerated trucks as makeshift morgues to house bodies of coronavirus victims. When this is all said and done, those same refrigerated trucks are going to be the trucks that they use to ship food from California to Florida, from wherever to wherever. And so you just ask yourself, do I want to eat something that's been shipped in these trucks that were once makeshift morgues? And the answer for me is no. I'm gonna go get me a cow and plant me some kale in my backyard. So if y'all hear somebody mooing,
I'm about to have a garden.
Y'all hear some mooing on the next video, mind your business.
Let me tell you, I know a couple of people who are doing gardens right now, and then at some point we're gonna bring them back on the show to talk about doing your own gardens and raising your own food, because there's quite a few of us, believe it or not, are already on that train. So trust me. And my last final thought: please wear a mask. Just wear a mask. Just wear it. You know what I'm saying? Just all you gotta do is wear it when you're in that place, and then when you come out, like you come in your car, you can take the mask off. Just wear your mask. That's all I'm saying. Like, you know what? You just wear your mask, not under your nose. Cover everything. Okay.
And do not remove your mask to speak.
Don't do it. Just talk through the mask. Why are we doing that? Just wear your mask, covered or whatever and stuff like that. Because I have children who are immune compromised, okay? I can't afford to be giving my babies anything. So y'all need to just wear your mask. You know, you may not care about yourself and you may feel like it's against your civil rights or whatever the case is. At the end of the day, wear a mask. I was gonna cuss because I was getting mad. Wear a mask, because it's literally 2 minutes of your life that you can always arrive alive. What was the thing when we were driving and going to school?
Arrive alive. Yeah.
Just wear it. Just put it on when you're going to the grocery store. Take it off when you get in your car. Wear a mask. If you don't care about nobody else, that's your problem. Care about other people. If you don't care about you, but other people got to live too, that's not fair. Wear a mask. That's all. That's my final thought.
Amen.
Absolutely. All right, ladies. Good
All
night.
right. See y'all next week.
Yes, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye-bye.